Ladies and gentlemen, and still have this Paul Reed Smith guitar. I got to send it back because some lucky rascal wants it. I'm going to use it for one last go around. There is another Paul Reed Smith Guitars Wildwood exclusive 35th anniversary S2 Custom 24 in Blue Mateo on the site as we speak, so you can check that out. This is one with a quilted maple top in Lemony Snicket yellow, I believe. Livingston yellow. Matty K is the first one in the house. Yes, indeed. How's it going out there? Sorry I was not here yesterday. I was here, but not live. But I'm live now. I actually had to go back to the UPNA to run a little errand this morning and returned back just moments ago before we went on air. That's why I'm in my sweet shorts. I had to do a little rescue mission up in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, my old college town. Went up there, took care of business, drove all the way back, just walked in the door, grabbed these sweet Paul Reed Smith and started playing it. This guitar actually got sold, which I felt gratified. There were two just like it. There was this one and another one. They're both gone, but there are other guitars similar to this at the Wildwood website. If you go under Paul Reed Smith, they have a 35th anniversary Wildwood exclusive S2 Custom 24. There's a particular one in blue that is quite fetching. Blue Mateo. You should check that out if that's what you're down with. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Maddie K says, the picture you shared from the UPNA was a beautiful and scenic. Yeah, it's beautiful up there. No doubt about our ancestral cottage that overlooks the lake, faces west. So at sunset, it is majestic. It's on this hill overlooking the lake. Sunsets, crazy. The 4th of July fireworks were insane. I'm quite sure they were illegal. Someone brought a barge out to the middle of the lake and let off these fireworks that were right over our pier. It was unbelievable. I'm sure the wildlife community is like, not again, humans. Really? What is going on here? But the hummingbirds were back in action the next morning about our trees, so it was all good. Can you dig it? Can't wait for this season of the Ken and Greg Show. It's coming up. Doggone it. I was down there. See any Wolverines? I did not. We did see kind of a UFO thing, though. I'm sure it was something not otherworldly, but it was definitely unidentified. Saw this blue thing that was going like this in the sky, and it had a blue light on the bottom of it. But it didn't look like it was being operated intelligently, so I'm sure it could have been any number of different things, but it was weird. That's all I'm going to say. It was weird. Did I have any good eats up there? We certainly did, doggone it. That humbucker sounds good. That's the bridge humbucker. Here's bridge single coil. It's a beautiful specimen. This is the middle position. That neck pickup still on humbucker, but the bridge tap. Sounds good. Lots of sweet tone from this Paul Reed Smith. Lots of sweet tone. Can you dig it all? Rich Moran says, do you own any Paul Reed Smith guitars? I personally do not at this juncture in time. I used to have a classic or a CE. It was a bolt-on back in the day. It was a bolt-on with the five-way rotary switch, a beautiful kind of cherry sunburst top with a rosewood fingerboard, but a maple back on the neck, as I recall. I used that quite a bit. I enjoyed that guitar. I used it for sessions, all that kind of stuff. It was great. How was my 4th? It was excellent, thank you. I hope yours was glorious and delightful. Yes, my leg is always keeping time with my musical activities. It looks a little bit more pronounced now that it is partially disrobed. I don't usually like to perform in shorts under any capacitor, under any circumstances, but sometimes I just got in the door. I had to quick go up to central Wisconsin. It's about a 3-hour drive up and a 3-hour drive back, and just got back in the door just in time to engage in these activities. Is that your gold top? Yes, it is. I'd like to see a slightly larger footprint body Paul Reed Smith hollow body. Yeah, that would be cool. But they do have one that's a little bit larger body. How was the heat in the UPNA? It was oppressive one of the days, but the next day it was hot, but there was a bit of a breeze. So that made it a little bit more glorious. Yes. Oh, I don't know about that. Nude legs coming out strong, loving and joking and singing a song. Anyway, so this is one of these Paul Reed Smith 35th anniversary. It's a Wildwood exclusive. What they're called sometimes Prevagen is needed. These are called the S2 Custom 24s. And they're quite equitable as far as Paul Reed Smiths go. Reasonably priced. There's a blue one right now on the Wildwood site that's particularly yummy. And you dig it. Come on over to Minnesota soon, hopefully sooner than later. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, says Matty K. I see you, and I dig it. Did I do any fishing? I did not. I did plenty of grilling, and we played plenty of Catan. Have you played that game, Catan? It's a frustrating game. It's a game of ruthless savagery. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And it's powerful. Played some Frisbee with my lovely wife, and let me tell you how quickly my skills returned to me from my youth. I was relatively adept and accurate with a Frisbee, and those skills returned. Upon returning to the cottage, I realized that it needed to be, the lawn needed to be mowed. So several hours were taken mowing the lawn. That lawn is large and filled with pine cones and sticks. The sounds that I heard as that creature munched through the various objects was horrifying. But hey, what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna complain. It was all good. Did I witness any wildlife worth mentioning? Not a whole ton. Usually we see some creatures worth noting, bald eagles up there and so on and so forth. Did see hummingbirds, saw some jays. But nothing too, I think we saw a loon. But the fireworks and the mass armada of boats that were up there celebrating our nation's birthday was, I'm sure, off-putting to members of the wildlife community. Off-putting. The two toggle switches, Dan, are coil taps. So this is the coil tap for the neck pickup. If I'm on the neck pickup. Humbucker. Single coil. Bridge pickup. Humbucker. And then single coil. Lots of lead flying in Door County. Yeah, I would imagine. It's beautiful up there, though. Any advice on how to play and sing at the same time? Every time I try, one of those goes off the rails. Man, that's hard. It just comes with time. A lot of times, of course, boy, that's a good question as far as how it comes. It's just one of those things where you have to put one on autopilot. The playing usually goes on autopilot. And of course, a lot of times, initially just make sure that your rhythm is kind of where the vocals are at. And when it comes time for a tricky vocal thing that doesn't match up rhythmically to what you're playing with your right hand, then just play something that's sustained, that doesn't mess with the groove, and then resume with more syncopation with your right hand, your strumming hand, after that particular tricky passage. So try to do a rhythm pattern that matches up pretty well with the syncopation of the vocal line, and when you reach those points where it's not quite consistent, then just hit a sustained chord that will at least not mess with the groove, and then reconvene at an appropriate time. Can you dig it? It's hard until it's not, says Leland. Yeah, get a second guitar player, there's that too. But just practice. Practice. But it's a good sounding guitar. It looks beautiful, I have to say. It's a beautiful specimen. Is it not? I have to send this one back because apparently someone bought this one and the other one. This particular color is called Livingston Yellow. I call it damn good looking. But there are a few other ones in stock right now in different colors. One's a Mateo blue, which I think is quite comely. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Bribery. I see you, Medicaid. Yeah, practice. Slipperfoot has returned. Actually, you know what? I got Ghostfoot on today. Although they were much more comely looking after this. They're kind of stained with cottage soot. Lots of dirt flying around as I was mowing that lawn. Looks like a root beer float burst to me. Yeah, it does, Michael, doesn't it? Oh, so we go. You see, the noise disappeared. Hey, Mark! Yeah, these pots are very handy for doing that kind of stuff, right? The volume swells. the volume swells on these guitars are very, very comfy to do, very comfy to do. Very comfy to pull off. Oh, well, you know what? Thank you, Nathan. There is actually going to be probably a transcription of that in my new transcription book, which is coming out soon. Hopefully within the next month or so. Thank you, Don. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Biddle diddle do do diddle do do do. You know what I'm going to do for the heck of it? I'm going to grab this Lester Palfus, and this is just an American, or I should say USA Gibson standard 50s with my new pickups in it, the Fishman Fluence Gristle Tone P90s. Sounds big and juicy. It sounds pretty big and juicy. like it. Don't drop that pick, big fella. Oh, he dropped it anyway. You're fired. I dropped the pick. Sounds good. It sounds so good. Oh, ain't superstitious. Oh, is this thing not plugged in? Oh, it's always something. Hi, Watt Steve. I love those pickups. I'm glad you dig them. They make me feel good all over. They make me feel good all over. It sounds good. It sounds good. Patrick Thomas says, is Dylan proud he can get such a big sound on a humble set? Yes. He can take a small kit and make it sound huge. Because he's not afraid to pound the gristle. He's not afraid. This is a Dylan original shirt, by the way. Fop it! Original artwork. This is, of course, a Gristle 90 with my pickups on it. Someone did ask, and I didn't have a chance to respond yet, if you can buy, right now the Fishman pickups sold separately are available with 2 volume and 2 tone. I would imagine, although I cannot speak for absolute certainty, but I would imagine that if you had a Telecaster and you wanted to do 2 P90s in that Telecaster or whatever guitar you have, and you wanted a telecontrol panel, they could, if you called Fishman, I'm sure they could do something. Don't quote me on that, but I would say you could call them and say, I have a Telecaster control plate that I would like to use with the P90s. Can you help me out with that? Maybe they would say, don't tell Greg, just tell Greg to stop saying that. Or else they might say, yeah, no problem, we'll set you up. So there you go. Anyway, so these are the same pickups, slightly different control. After listening to the LP with your P90 Telly, my vote for best tone is the Telly. Just my opinion. Well, I'm not gonna argue with you on that. But it's just different. It's a different sound. This is obviously what I prefer because it's my signature instrument. That's what we were going after, things that I wanted to have in my arsenal. Yeah, it's a savage beast. The P90s are squishalicious. Someone asked what my favorite riff is that I've written in the last few years of mine. Well, I am sensitive towards the old It's Luna Girl, right? And then another one I like is the, And of course, there's the Godzilla. That one's got a certain something. A little certain something. Gristle 90 for lefties. Issues. Scott, the guitar is not the problem. It's the doing the pickups. I got to talk to the Fishman folks about about doing lefty versions. Thank you very much, Big Boss. Big Boss Man. Can you dig any tattoos? I don't, Rich. I've never been a tattoosman. You know why? Because I like to wake up with every morning going, anything I did yesterday may have been erroneous. And I certainly wouldn't like a permanent reminder of yesterday's erroneous activities, let alone in print on my being. But that's me. Other people, let your freak flag fly. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? James said, late, what did I miss? Well, we went over a little bit of the Paul Reed Smith again, the Wildwood exclusive 35th anniversary S2 Custom 24. Have I ever arm wrestled Dylan? No, I haven't. Fall from Grace, is that song about a pet? No, it's about my daughter named Grace. Although I can see where you might think that. Sneakerfoot is back, Patrick. Yes, you are correct. Permanent reminder of a temporary feeling. Yes, well done, Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett, Jimmy Buffett. Can you dig it? The Gristle 90 Reverend signature guitar. A new batch should be in by Wildwood shortly. They're on the rails. They're riding the blinds. And they're coming. What's on my pedal board? Asked Andrew Collins. Let's take a look. Most of what you're hearing right now is just the amp. The gain is, anyway. I do have a little slapback going through the effects via the TC Electronics. That's it. So a lot of times, what I'll do, just stick with the clean sound here for a minute. I'll have the reverb on the amp. I'll have the harmonic vibrato on the amp. Nice little texture. I like the Magnavibe for more of a magnetone vibrato. I've got my phaser on more of the Phase 45 setting. I got this. That is messing around with my thing. Envelope filter, and this. Mess with that pedal. It's getting discombobulated, but that'll happen. Here in the Orange Room, anything is possible. With the Orange Room, anything is possible. Can you dig it? Jim wants to know my amp settings. You know what? It's pretty simple. On my signature amp right over here, the Greg, I have the EQ on both channels at 12 o'clock. So treble, middle, and bass, all straight up 12 o'clock. On my clean channel, most of the time I have my gain at 12 o'clock and my master at 1 o'clock. That doesn't help. Noon on gain, 1 o'clock on master. On the lead channel, I have the gain at 3 o'clock and the master at 1 o'clock for the channel volume. On top of the amp, I will run, like right now I'm running the master on the top of the amp. So the overall master I have on about 10 o'clock. Presence control at noon. The OTS I run full up, volume full up, gain full up. That way, when I hit it and I have the masters no more than at 1 o'clock on the channel volumes, I get a boost when I hit the OTS. Someone asked about the Leslie. Yeah, this is Toby's Leslie, our organ player, when he comes down every other week to do live streams with us. It's just so he doesn't have to haul one hither and yon, because he's got a lot of different Leslies. So it stays here so he doesn't have to haul it up to the hill in order to get here. Good to be back in the Orange Church of Gristle. Well, thank you, Mark. Thanks for making the scene. Do my ears ring? James, they do a little bit. My left ear is a little tinnitusy, but I put an earplug in here, and when I have that amp down over here, during these sessions, it's not so bad. When the full band is here, I put earplugs in, and I wear those noise-canceling headphones, and I can only hear the vocals in here and just a little bit of guitar. But everything else is so loud in this room that I don't need to have anything else in my ear monitors. Can plugins replace a real Leslie? Good question, Keating. I've got some excellent Leslie simulators. My favorite probably being the Neo Instruments ventilator. But nothing quite replaces that Doppler effect of an actual Leslie. That being said, the Magnetone vibrato is killer. The Univibe type sound that's on the amp. All last year, when I have this amp, when I go out and play live, I don't bring any extra pedals or anything. I may bring a little something extra when I go out, but most likely I won't because it's just such a pain in the butt to have to plug extra stuff in. When we do gigs, it's so down and dirty. Driving, set up, play, merch table, eat, play, merch table, pack, drive away. It's just so nice to go, oh, I've got one cord that goes into the front of the amp, and I'll take the foot switch for the amp and shove it in the back, and away we go. You know what I'm saying? It makes life a lot easier. Nathan Cloud asks, what kind of interface do you use? I especially enjoy the mix you achieve while playing with the trio. Well, thank you, Nathan. We've done a lot of different stuff throughout the last year of COVID activity. And basically what we're doing is we're running this Tascam Model 24, which they graciously set us up with. We run that as our interface. So everything goes into there. I'm actually using the control panel. We could record with this, but right now we're using it as a 24-channel interface. I use it as my monitor mixer when we're playing. That goes into the computer, into Logic. And then Logic speaks to OBS via a program called Loopback. And then OBS puts the cameras together and the sound together, and then it goes to a program called Restream, and Restream goes out to the various different platforms all at the same time. I also use Restream now to record the interviews that I'm doing for the Chewing the Gristle podcast. If you haven't listened to them, enjoy them at your leisure. Chewing the Gristle, available wherever podcasts are flowing. Latest one with Duke Levine. What a fantastic cat he is. My buddy Scott Sherrard coming up. Greg Allman's musical director, as well as an old buddy of mine from back here. He's lived out in New York for years. Also plays with Little Feat at present. And played with Levon Helm and a bunch of other folks. He's great guitar player and singer. So check that out. Chewing the Gristle. See what I did there? Guitar Gristle Pod with the Duke Levine is fantastic. Well, thank you, Dan. I'm glad you dig it. I thought it was good. What a cool cat. We just had a great. We never know what we're going to talk about when those things. It goes off in any direction. Sometimes they ask me questions, and then we just end up going in weird directions. But that's what it's for. It's not really. It's just a chat. It's an extemporaneous chat betwixt musicians that is hopefully entertaining. Ryan is up in Maine. Ryan, it was kind of funny. I woke up early yesterday I was up at the cottage and I woke up at 4:30 thinking about, sometimes I think about what I say in these podcasts, and I occasionally have pangs of, should I have said that? And then my other sense goes, what? Why do you care? You have a pretty good sense of editing, self-editing. But Duke and I were talking about time. And where was I first conscious of time, like playing on top of the beat, behind the beat, with the beat, all that kind of stuff. And I told the story about being in college up in Stevens Point, which I was earlier today. By coincidence, I was up there. I had to stop by the Fine Arts Building, which I hadn't been to in years. Just happened to coincide with a calling of nature, which I thought was appropriate. Anyway, security. Anyway, so we were talking about where I was cognizant of time, and I remember there was a bunch of buddies of mine who went to school that were all from Minneapolis, and they were all into Prince. And at that time, I did not like Prince. I was a young whippersnapper who didn't quite understand it. And as I got older, I appreciated his musicianship and so on and so forth. And certainly the fact that he was a genius entertainer, all that other kind of stuff. Not my particular cup of tea. I had maybe one Prince record. I think there were 2 songs I actually listened with any kind of frequency. But when I was younger, I did not like Purple Rain. I didn't get it. I just wasn't into it. So I mentioned that with candor, and I was mentioning that I didn't like Prince. Like it was like people are going, what? And then I was telling my youngest son that, John, I go, I woke up last night, John. Well, because he woke up early. So we're out on the cottage porch and we're shooting the breeze. And I'm telling him, John, I woke up early. I thought about a couple of the things I said. And I mentioned this thing about Prince. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Is voicing an opinion about Prince too much of a hot take for a podcast? Well done, John. That kind of put things in perspective for me. So there you go. And by the way, I would like to interview a whole bunch of different people for the podcast, but a lot of it is just breaks down to who I can get a hold of, how I get a hold of them, and their availability. So it's not that I'm avoiding certain people or I don't want certain people on or any of that kind of stuff. It's just literally, okay, we need some guys for next week. Who can I get a hold of? Oh, that's right. Oh, and it'll come at me from a weird way. Sometimes my buddy Carl up north is like, hey, you should get so-and-so on. And he gives me their phone number. I'm like, okay, well, that's easy. So it's just, that's how that stuff rolls. Anyway. Can you dig it? Have you played any guitars designed by Dennis Fano? And what are your thoughts? I think he's great and he's a cool cat. Early on, Wildwood used to sell a ton of Fanos. And I enjoyed them. I remember seeing them first years ago. I was doing a Fender clinic out east somewhere, and I saw one of Fano's one of his first iterations, which was kind of a Les Paul special type of thing, but with a tele control panel and like a P90, a tele control panel, and a tele bridge pickup. I thought it was cool as hell. And I played some of his other guitars. He's great. He's fabulous. And he's a cool dude as well. Better question, where in Odin's halls do you find an actual Fano guitar in stock? That I can't help you with. I have no idea. Do I sound a bit hoarse? I don't know why that is. Who knows? I am drinking a delicious coffee. Maybe that's constricting my... It is a visceral constrictor. Maybe it's a esophageal constrictor or a larynx constrictor. It's a good name for a band. Ladies and gentlemen, larynx constrictor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you dig it? If you're picking with a pick, you can keep picking if you drop your pick. Can I keep picking if I drop my pick? Yeah, there's been times where I drop my pick. I play a lot without a pick anyway, so I've done entire gigs without a pick. It's not a problem. I've thought about ditching the pick altogether, but you know what? I can use a pick. I can not use a pick. It's kind of like one of those things where it's nice to have all your tools at your disposal. So I'll use the pick sometimes. I'll ditch it between my fingers. I definitely put it down when I'm playing slide, and that's that. Can you dig it? Is Greg's Guitar Camp at Crystal Lake? No, it is not. I am doing that guitar camp with Andy Wood. He puts on a fabulous event. This is the second annual, 2.0, if you will, of Woodshed Guitar Experience. I'm doing that at the end of August. Andy Wood, of course, magnificent guitar player and one hell of a cool cat. But also Robin Ford is going to be there, Brent Mason, Andy Timmons, Mark Lettieri, and yours truly, putting on a multi-day event where we do workshops and then we do a performance and we hang, and it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun last year. So, Bohemian Grove, no, that's not where it is. Although I got invited there once. It just, I did not go. So, do you grow your nails on your picking hand like a classical player? I don't, Mark. I find that all my chicken picking stuff I can do, and my slide stuff I do with just a little bit of nail on my middle finger and my ring finger. Ever thought of doing a humbucker gristle pickup? Nathan, that is a good idea. I think what I have in mind prior to that, if it's all amenable, is I might do because I have played Strats for years. A lot of my records have Strats on them, always have. I mean, I have a record called Strats Got Your Tongue, for pity's sake. And I love the pickups that I help voice for Fishman. But I would do a little take for a signature pickup, I think. And, we haven't solidified anything, but that would be something I'd be interested in working on. But we just got the P90s out, so let's... Not to mention the fact that there would be any number of cool different combinations of things as things get caught up with demand and so on and so forth of doing mixtures of the Tele pickups with, maybe a Strat middle pickup or P90 and Tele bridge, so on and so forth. Any book work ahead? Yes, as a matter of fact, I have a book of my transcriptions, which has been late in coming, but it is coming out soon. So we shall see. What is a Lydian dominant scale, asks Alex. Well, the technical explanation is that it's a mode of the melodic minor scale. But basically, I just look at it as that's the scale you use over a dominant 7 flat 5 chord or a sharp 11. So if you come across this kind of a chord, or you will play a Lydian dominant, which means you've got a flat 5 in there, or a sharp 11, and a flat 7. So it sounds like this. So when you come across that chord, you go. Oh, sorry. Okay, can you dig it? It is kind of a mysterious sound. Yeah, it's a good scale to use, especially if you're doing like 2-5-1. If you want to add a little sophistication to doing a blues, if you're doing a blues, like, let's do it in G. So a 3-6-2-5 turnaround, or so if you're doing a blues in G and you want to get a little snazzy, over that D7, you can put in what would be a tritone substitution. You can think of a G sharp Lydian dominant. Okay, so add that to your delicious activities and see what your neighbors think. They might go, before when you played guitar, I just didn't like it. But suddenly you added this new mysterious scale, and now I just can't get enough. And then you can start charging them for listening. Next thing you know, you'll be a thousandaire. Sweet. What a bounty. Can you dig it? Ba-diddle-dee-dee, ba-diddle-doo. Can you dig it? Pass the Grey Poupon, Dire Wolf. It's so doggone delicious. Oh my God, it's 4:04 already. Time flies and you're having fun, doggone it. Thank you so much for tuning in today to our Wildwood broadcast. Again, we started off today with a Wildwood exclusive Paul Reed Smith guitar. They've got an excellent S2 Custom 24 special run that they're doing with some beautiful tops, and they're all quite equitably priced. They're under $2,000, which, as you may be knowledgeable of, is quite inexpensive for a Paul Reed Smith guitar, especially with that kind of a beautiful flame top. And I also played a little bit of a USA Gibson standard, Les Paul standard 50s original collection, I believe. I never get that name right, but somewhere in all those words is the correct name of that guitar. And it is outfitted with a set of my Fishman Fluence Gristletone P90 pickups. And then, of course, there's this, which is a Reverend Gristlemaster, or Gristle 90, excuse me. It's so hard with words. Gristle 90, which comes stock with my Fishman Fluence P90 pickups. Is that a laminate top on the Paul Reed Smith? I don't believe so. But this color, this is a, well, We're calling this Bradford Beach Blue. I'll tell a quick story about this. You maybe see me play my other version, which is a different turquoise, and we called that Tosa Turquoise because I live in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. We thought it'd be funny to call it Tosa Turquoise. I thought it would be funny. And others said, oh, okay, I get it. And then what happened is that we took a long time to voice the pickups and get them out because of COVID-19. So when the pickups were ready and the guitar was ready to go into production, it was just told to the factory, like, we're going with that turquoise. And they're like, what turquoise? They reverted to the turquoise they usually use, which is this. But the transparent version of this turquoise is beautiful. So we call it Bradford Beach Blue. So there's a limited number of these that is going to be available, and then the other Tosa Turquoise will be available. Other than that, they have a gold, Venetian gold, which is beautiful, and a black. So there you go. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you on Thursday. I should have a new guitar is arriving soon from Wildwood, so I'll have a new instrument on Thursday to play for y'all. In the meantime, stay safe, enjoy, stay cool. It's a little warm out there, folks.